Michael Schumacher has won the Japanese Grand Prix of 2000 and becomes a triple world champion.
Michael Schumacher takes his 4th title and the 2001 World Drivers' Championship.
And Schumacher is the 2002 world champion with a record 6 races remaining.
Schumacher crosses the line in 8th position to take the 2003 Drivers' World Championship by just 2 points here in Japan.
Michael Schumacher clinches their 2004 World Championship and becomes Formula One's first ever 7-time world champion.
So as the sun sets down on the 2004 Formula 1 season, many fans are already looking forward to the 2005 season, which heralds many rule changes like the ban on changing tyres during the race, and an all-new aggregate qualifying session, and it might just for the first time in 5 years produce a world champion that isn't a certain German masterclass. So then let's take a look at the Formula 1 2005 grid, starting off at the back with Jordan and Minardi, both teams running an old rookie lineup with Jordan running Tiago Montero and Indian Narain Karthikeyan, while Minardi are running Patrick Vrijsacker alongside Christian Albers. Should be a really difficult year for Jordan Minardi. The demise kind of started last year for Jordan, it's probably just going to continue this year. Both teams rumoured to be leaving the sport at the end of the year, with potential buyers such as maybe Midland or even Dijit Massachusetts has been rumoured to be buying Minardi to form a B team for the Red Bull team, but we'll have to see how that story develops over the course of the season. Toyota have gone with Jarno Trulli and Ralf Schumacher. They've had a decent 3 years, the kind of past few seasons. Toyota will be hoping to build on that further, targeting podiums and hopefully wins within the next few years. Jarno Trulli, of course, very experienced, now moved over from Renault. He clearly sees something in this Toyota team. There's certainly a bright future for the Japanese squad. Ralf Schumacher, a very experienced racer, raced with Williams before, of course, brother to Michael Schumacher. So it should be a really solid year for both Schumacher and Trulli. Red Bull Racing embark on their debut season in F1 with drivers David Coulthard and Christian Klein. The young fast Austrian has a really bright future in F1, and this is a perfect platform for him to really show off his skill, and especially with a new team like Red Bull, if he can even beat David Coulthard, then it proves that Klein could become a future star. Meanwhile, David Coulthard is certainly entering the twilight of his career after having the majority of his success at McLaren. He's not going to be expecting wins or podiums in Red Bull, but certainly points are the aim for the new, heavily backed Austrian team. Let's move on to Sauber then. Their drivers for this year are Jacques Villeneuve and once again Felipe Massa. Massa impressed greatly last season, and it's very expected he's going to be beating Villeneuve, who is rumoured to be also leaving the team at the end of the year. Massa is also rumoured to be leaving the team at the end of the year, as he could be replacing possibly the outgoing Rubens Barrichello. West McLaren Mercedes this year have gone with Kimi Raikkonen and Juan Pablo Montoya. Montoya, of course, coming over from Williams. Kimi Raikkonen, of course, staying with McLaren for another year. Hopefully, this could be the year for Kimi Raikkonen. Came so close in 2003, had a pretty dismal 2004, but from testing pace, we can definitely say that McLaren do have a race-winning car, and Raikkonen and Montoya should be 2 championship contenders, and definitely 2 drivers to watch for, from the off from Australia. Let's move on to Williams then, finished 4th in the 2004 constructor standings. This year they've gone with Mark Webber and Nick Heidfeld. The very quick Germans hasn't really impressed too much in his outing so far in Formula 1, but he's hoping that 2005 will change that, and hoping it will be providing a platform for him to move on up the grid. But Williams, a pretty good team. That the target I think has to be podiums, possibly even a win for them, considering their really strong 2004 season. We'll have to see. Nick Heidfeld, of course, raced for Prost, Sauber and Jordan before, but now he's got a more permanent role at Williams. He'll be hoping to really build on that and, set himself in stone in that role for the future seasons, or maybe even move up the grid, of course, with Rubens Barrichello rumored to be moving out Ferrari. Could we see Nick move to Ferrari? We'll have to see. Mild 7 Renault F1 team have gone with Fernando Alonso and Chicano Fisichella. Fisichella replacing the outgoing Jarno Trulli, who of course went to Toyota, and Fernando Alonso then back for another season. Had a pretty decent 2004 season, but judging by testing pace, that Renault is very quick and is probably going to be a main championship contender to try and end Schumacher's reign. Chicano Fisichella should put a pretty good fight to Alonso, but it's pretty clear, I think, from within the team that Alonso is the #1 driver. They've got all the eggs in his basket, they're all pushing him all the way, and Renault will be hoping to take their first ever title as this new kind of Renault team, and of course then Fernando Alonso will be hoping to take his first ever championship victory, of course after previously winning races in the past couple of seasons. BIR Honda have gone with Jenson Button and Takuma Sato once again this year. Jenson Button of course having a pretty solid season in 2004, as did Sato. Sato of course picking up his first ever podium in F1, Button though failing to get a victory last season, which was a massive blow for him. Many people expected, BAR to be winning races, but they couldn't quite manage it. They got many podiums, many points, managed to finish second in the constructors standings in 2004, but just couldn't quite get that win. A win's definitely got to be the aim for 2005, although testing pace suggests they could be in the midfield rather than at the front where they were last season. And finally then, let's move on to the world champions Ferrari. Of course, once again going with Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello. Had that lineup of course since 2000 and has been a pretty successful formula. Big improvements are needed for Rubens Barrichello to warrant himself for another year for 2006 or possibly even 2007. Michael Schumacher of course will be going for his 8th title and of course his 6th straight title on the bounce. He's going to be pretty hard to beat this season, although testing pace would suggest that Ferrari isn't quite as quick as we've seen before, many predicting this to be similar to 2003, where there should be a really hard fought battle between Ferrari and McLaren. But of course we can never count out the Renaults of Alonso and Fisichella, and maybe even a surprise, just like we saw last year with Honda just coming out of nowhere really. So we'll have to see what's going to be happening then with the grid. But you guys can join us then for Australia coming next week, of course, the opening round of the F1 2002. I'll see you in Australia. Until then, goodbye.